Welcome to the session number 2. Uh, in the module number 3 that is related to certification and non-ferrous foundry practice for third semester mechanical engineering students. In session number 1, we already discussed about introduction to certification and then nucleation, types of nucleation, in that homogeneous and heterogeneous nucleations we discuss in the previous session number 1. And then certification variables, and then directional certification and its need in casting, methods controlling directional certification we'll discuss in detail in session number 1. Now I'll move on to session number 2, that is degasification in liquid metals. Degasification is a process to remove dissolved gases in liquid metal. Liquid molten metal that are in contact with air usually contain dissolved gases such as nitrogen and oxygen. On certification, the elements may recombine to form molecular gases, and in doing so form gas holes like blowholes, pinholes, etc., resulting in casting defects. Since it is not possible to completely prevent the absorption of gases in the melt, and then vacuum melting is used nowadays to prevent the dissolution of gases in metals. In this, it is not completely possible to prevent the absorption of gases in the melt. It is required to remove the dissolved gases, and the process adopted is known as degasification. In this, sources of gases in liquid metal and its prevention. Gases are absorbed in the molten metal from various sources, and then I will discuss one by one. These are the main sources: furnace atmosphere, furnace charge, ladles, furnace to ladle or ladle to mold, and then in the mold. Discuss one by one. First one you will take furnace atmosphere. The atmosphere inside the furnace may contain water vapor, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and SO2 as products of combustion of fuel. In addition to the normal atmosphere gases such as nitrogen and oxygen, the amount of gas absorption depends on the conditions and the type of melting furnace. Maintaining clean and dry atmosphere inside the furnace and furnace walls helps in reducing the gas absorption. And then next we'll go for furnace charge. Wet or it may be oily materials or contaminated scrap charged into the furnace contribute to gas absorption. Allying additions containing hydrogen resulting from the reducing conditions employed in smelting fluxes, slag making additions, or other sources. Use of dry and clean charge helps in reducing the gas absorptions. And then go for ladles. Incompletely dried lining and surface of sports dishes and ladles, when brought in contact with the molten metal, may help gas absorption through dissociation of steam at the contact surface. Use of clean, dry, and free-heated tools helps in reducing these gas absorption. And then furnaces to ladle or ladle to mold. In this, molten metal may absorb gases while it is transferred through air from ladle to mold, or it may be during tapping from furnace to ladle. The gas absorption can be minimized by providing a protective atmosphere to the molten metal by means of slag, inert gas, exothermic compounds, etc. Further, pouring molten metal of further pouring metal at temperatures as low as practically possible and maintaining metal handling conditions like skimming, stirring, and re-ladling helps in reduction gas absorption. And then last source of gases in liquid metal and its prevention is in the mold. In this, molten metal may absorb gases inside the mold. In case if the mold materials contain some excess moisture, uh, the mold materials free of volatile matter and proper venting system in the mold helps in reducing the gas absorption. And then degasification methods, and then following are the different methods of degassing: uh, flushing and then vacuum degassing. In vacuum degassing there are different methods. It may be static bath treatment, induction degassing, and then steam doublet degassing, and then fractional degassing, etc. We will discuss one by one. First we will take flushing. In this flushing, the gas is also called gas scavenging. Flushing or gas scavenging with an inert gas is one of the most effective methods of extracting dissolved gases from the molten metal. Inert gases such as chlorine, nitrogen, helium, or argon are used in practice for degassing nonferrous metals, while carbon monoxide is used for nonferrous metals and nickel based alloys. Usually for nonferrous metals and nickel based alloys, nitrogen cannot be used as inert gas. They form nitrates that affects the grain size. And then in inert gases, nitrogen and argon gases are widely used as inert gases due to their availability and low cost. And then here, while carbon monoxide is used to metals in and nickel based alloys, and then here the simple sketch shows the principle of flushing with inert gas. This is the sketch showing, and then this is the crucible, and then inside the molten metal and then this is the gas pipe, and then connected with the graphite tube. In this method, the inert gas is simply piped. This is the inert gas. Is simply piped from storage tank through graphite tubes. This is the graphite tube directly into the liquid metal. The piping of inert gas creates some bubbles which move upwards, and any dissolved gas in the liquid melt migrates readily to the bubble, where it collects and is flushed from the melt and to the atmosphere. The rate of degassing depends on the rate at which the gas diffuses into the gas bubbles. This is a simple sketch showing the flushing arrangement. And then next we'll go for vacuum and degassing. Here, as the name suggests, vacuum degassing is a technique of removing dissolved gas from the liquid metal melt by lowering the pressure inside the vessel containing the liquid melt in the presence of vacuum. It is particularly used in steel foundries for degassing hydrogen and oxygen from the liquid steel. Steel refined in vacuum are characterized by homogeneous structure, low content of non-metallic inclusions, and low gas porosity. Vacuum degassing is typically performed in a specially designed chamber or vessel that is known as vacuum degasser. There are a number of variants followed in the vacuum degassing process. However, working on the same principle by exposing the molten metal to a low pressure environment. The reduced pressure inside the vessel or chamber causes the dissolved gas to become less soluble and separate from the liquid melt. When the vacuum degassing process is complete, the gas is removed from the vessel and the pressure is returned to normal. It must be noted that the effectiveness of any vacuum degassing operation depends upon the surface area of liquid melt that is exposed to low pressure. Hydrogen removal is a diffusion and partial pressure phenomena, while oxygen removal is a function of chemical reaction of oxygen with carbon and the partial pressure of carbon monoxide. And then the different variants of vacuum degassing with respect to hydrogen gas removal are discussed one by one. In that, we'll take first one is uh, static bath degassing. Is a simple sketch showing static bath degassing. This is the crucible inside which vacuum chamber, inside we will place the crucible inside molten metal, and then this is the ladle, and then topper covers with the vacuum chamber. Okay. Here static bath technique is the simplest form of degassing technique wherein the ladle tapped with the molten metal is placed with a chamber sealed and evacuated as shown in figure A. This is the crucible, and then molten metal is placed here, and then entire operation, and this is the vacuum chamber, and then evacuated. Molten metal is placed with the chamber, and then the sealed and evacuated as shown in figure A. And then the process, although time consuming and requires some additional equipments, may be simplified by sealing and tapped ladle itself with a cover as shown in figure B. The space above the molten metal, in the ladle forms the vacuum chamber. The reduced pressure inside the chamber causes the dissolved gas to become less soluble and separate from the liquid melt. Once the degassing process is completed, the pouring of metal is carried out. This system gives the advantage of a small pump down volume, reducing the vacuum pump capacity requirement. However, since the system does not utilize any circulation of the melt other than that provided by the natural convection, degassing proceeds at a very slower rate. That is about excuse me. That is about static bath degassing. Next, we'll go for induction degassing. Induction degassing technique overcomes what are the disadvantages of static bath technique, and then this is a simple arrangement of induction degassing as shown in figure, and then it consists of crucible furnace, and then surrounded by some induction heating coils. These are the induction heating coils. The entire assembly located within a chamber that can be sealed and rapidly evacuated. The molten metal is transformed from melting unit into crucible, wherein the current flowing through the coils create a magnetic field that induces some eddy current, and the circular electric current producing a stirring action within the molten metal. This stirring action takes place within the molten metal. The bath agitation, which takes place at a normal frequency, is just sufficient for hydrogen gas removal from the melt to take place. The effect of removal, dissolved gas is enhanced to a greater extent in the presence of vacuum atmosphere. And then next we'll go for stream droplet degassing. And then in this vacuum degassing induction process is more efficient, except the cost of the furnace being a major drawback. The initial cost is more. However, foundries operating with induction furnaces having the more advantage, since all the operations like melting metal under vacuum, refining, degassing, heating, alloying, etc. are all done in one single unit, that is melting furnace. The process is relatively flexible and then featuring the independent control of time, temperature, pressure and mass transport through melt stirring. That's why it is very useful in this induction gassing process. Next we'll go for stream droplet degassing. Uh, in stream degassing technique, the molten metal from the ladle is shows the figure shows the stream droplet degassing. Here this is the bottom pour ladle, and then the molten metal from the ladle is poured down into another preheated ladle that is placed in an evacuated chamber as shown in sketch, and then the bottom uh, pouring of molten metal is desirable as it creates a stream of flow into the vacuum chamber. The sudden exposure of this liquid stream into vacuum chamber leads to very rapid degassing due to the increased surface area created by breakup of stream into droplets. The process helps the hydrogen gas dissolved in steel to be evacuated by a vacuum pump. The major amount of degassing occurs during the fall of this liquid small droplets, and as such the height of the pouring stream forms an important design parameter in the process. That is about stream droplet degassing process. And then fractional degassing. Here fractional degassing technique is a simple technique. This is a sketch showing the fractional degassing. In fractional degassing technique, the molten metal to be tapped in the ladle is progressively degassed by treatment of fractions of the metal in a separate pump metal vacuum vessel as shown in the sketch, and then the system makes use of two tubes connected at the bottom of vacuum chamber, with one of the tube is supplied with some argon inert gases connected to a pipe supplying argon gas through its refractory lining. Both the tubes are immersed into the ladle containing the molten metal. With such an arrangement, the liquid metal flows up in the vacuum chamber under the influence of an inert gas. Bubbles bled into the base of the tube. And then this is a figure shows the fractional degassing level of molten metal in vacuum chamber is determined by the atmospheric pressure. Through the second tube, the molten metal in the vacuum chamber, the molten metal flows down back to the ladle, producing continuous circulation of the melt and resulting in the removal of the gases. And then this is the fractional degassing technique. I will stop now, and then thank you for patience listening. Thank you.